Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game. Let's go ahead and make sure everything's working right. Yes, a game between Forever TeD and Sweet Backing, also known as AG Fox's, I believe it's TiuJQY, but then again, I don't know how to pronounce JQY, so that might actually be a company, so it just could be TeD versus Tiao. But this is going to be an Undead versus Undead matchup. Now, TeD, perhaps the hottest player in Warcraft 3 right now. No, I'm not talking about in terms of looks. That would be me. Haha, just kidding. No, the hottest player just because he has recently won the World Cyber Games. I was looking for those replays, could not come across them, so I do apologize. Now, we do have TeD, I believe, spawning as the blue Undead. Meanwhile, we have Tiao spawning as the red Undead. I will be referring to them as red and blue throughout the rest of the matchup just because I don't know how to say their names. Now, let's see what Blue's going to be doing here. He is going for a Crypt. He is going for the Altar of Darkness. And pretty recently, as of late, the Lich has become a much more common hero in an Undead versus Undead mirror match. As I make that introduction, the blue player, TeD, decides to go ahead and train up a Death Knight instead, and another Death Knight instead coming in from the red Undead player. So, X that, cross that out. It is going to be a Death Knight versus Death Knight. No crazy usage of the Lich with Rada Necromancy trying to just Frost Nova everything to death while doing dark rituals on skeletal minions. That is not going to be happening in this game. We do see ghouls now being trained up, and I'm interested to see what exactly the strategies will be. Are we going to see a Death Coil first, or are we perhaps going to be seeing Unholy Aura first? Now, both sides, both strategies do have their merit, but I do believe Death Coil is perhaps a little bit better just because you're much more able to efficiently creep. You can take a look at this now. The Death Knight is moving across the map now with a Rod of Necromancy. Meanwhile, the red Death Knight also moving out across the map with a Rod of Necromancy. Both players playing very similarly so far, as they are going to be doing a little bit of a kiss in the middle of the map. Oh, so the blue Undead player was actually able to get the minions from there, even though I believe this Acolyte was the one that got the kill. So very, very interesting play as the Death Knight now looks to wander in. Death Knight now wants to get some damage onto these ghouls, but will not be able to, as we now see a small engagement and scuffle. No Death Coils will be coming in either, as we now have 4 skeletal minions. Skeletal minions actually have higher DPS, I believe, than ghouls. I believe they both attack at a normal speed. Nope, speed of slow, so I cannot quite do the math there, as we do see a battling of the skeletons here. So ghouls versus skeletons, Death Knights versus Death Knights, and a whole bunch of towers coming in from red. So home field advantage definitely for red, as we are going to see perhaps one Acolyte try and slip away. Yes, it will. Will it not? Oh, this is oh so very close, as units are falling. No, it looks like one Acolyte does get taken down. There it goes. And this is all during the upgrade to tier 2. This is very important because the red player is unable to train up any additional Acolytes at this time. You can see how much damage is being dealt to that Acolyte there. Is it going to fall? Oh, a beautiful Death Coil coming in from the red Undead player again, saving it. And now let's take a look at what's happening here from the blue Undead player. He is backing off, pretty much back at home. He has been able to just continue to build and haunt his gold mine in peace. Meanwhile, we can see that the red Undead player having a little bit of an experience advantage and hasn't lost any Acolytes either. Very, very interesting strategy so far, as the Death Knight now simply return homes. Okay, if you hear those long, awkward pauses, consider them me muting, coughing, yawning, or I guess I can be doing some post-editing, making sure that you guys don't hear what's going around in the background, even though everything is pretty normal in the Crota household today. Except for it is frost level warnings in Southern California, and I am cold. Alright, yeah. Southern California boy, just very, very cold here. Now let's take a look. Death Knight now looking to slip by once more. Halls of the Dead will be up, and the Graveyard once again getting resurrected, and the skeletal minions going after Acolytes. Very interesting strategy here, as the acolytes are actually wandering and changing position very easily. You can, if the acolytes over here, it can then just jump back here to teleport to there essentially, and that does cause a bit of problems. Okay, another skeletal minion will get taken down. As we see red now halfway or more than halfway to level 2. Meanwhile, TeD's Death Knight only about a quarter of the way. This is not looking good for him. And this is actually the benefit for red. Red, because he's been able to stay closer to his base, has been able to get reinforcements faster, has had higher damage because of those towers, and also has the benefit of being able to creep, since he does not have to run all the way home to get up and pick up new items. Now, we are doing a very quick tech to Black Citadel. Wow, this is a Black Citadel tech before the Lich and the slaughterhouse is even completed. So we could have perhaps a quick transition into obsidian statues. I cannot imagine destroyers, since Crypt Fiends are already on the field. Crypt Fiends with web, very powerful, as the Crypt Fiends are now doing that very slow attack back. Crypt Fiends, one of those units that attack very slow, but then deal a lot of damage per attack there, as we now see a small engagement. The red Death Knight now simply returning back. Death Knight off over here, sitting at level 1 still. Where is it going to be going? As the Death Knight, with that Death Coil, able to chase down these units. This is going to be causing a bit of a problem. We are going into that Lich now. Slaughterhouse is not yet up. Are we perhaps going to be going into quick abominations? That would be a very smart call, since they are very beefy units that are essentially immune to Death Coil or your opponent's Death Coil. You don't want to heal your opponent's abominations. And the Crypt Fiends will be taking additional damage from them. So we'll see if that will be the case. No, Obsidian Statue first, as we are about 90% done on that Black Citadel upgrade. Now, all we need is... Come on, you guys can tell me. The Orb of Corruption. Orb of Corruption, a very strong item coming in from the Undead shop. Perhaps the best item, as a Manual of Health. Oh my gosh, I think that's the first time I've actually seen a hero go back to read a book. Thank you, TeD. Not the illiterate type. Illiterate. Yeah, need to work on my English, Crota. So Death Knight still wandering around here. Lich sitting at level 1, waiting perhaps to get to level 2. Does pick up an Orb of Corruption and another Rod of Necromancy. And we can see that the Troll Berserker is actually doing a little bit of a chase here, getting in a lot of damage. The Death Knight still sitting at level 1, and with that Obsidian Statue, it will be very difficult to get it shut down. Obsidian Statue sitting at level 1 here. We're going to see the clearing of this 5-4 creep camp. Death Knight will perhaps get very close to level 2. Also does drop some sentry wards, as it looks as though the red Death Knight and his army is retreating. Why am I yawning so much today? All right, Death Knight, Lich, ready to move out. Lich has yet to really show what skill he is going for. I do believe that it will be Frost Nova as opposed to Frost Armor. And now TeD, the blue Undead player, is looking to creep out this creep camp. We may see a level 2 on that Lich. Death Knight will still stay at level 2, so it's going to be a 2-2 now, as the sentry wards do spot the army, the Undead army there. Alright, there is a bit of a Congo line chase. What item? Wand of the Wind has been picked up, so we could perhaps see some high-flying Crypt Fiends in just a second, as the units are now looking to back away once more. Very good creep camp still to creep out. A 4-4-3-3 creep camp should give a lot of experience if it does get crept out. Meanwhile, Lich and Death Knight, Dark Ranger now trained up. So a very quick Dark Ranger coming in from red, as the Wand of the Wind does pick up that Death Knight. The Death Knight does take a bit of damage. Are we going to see perhaps another engagement still? The Undead Tri-Hero with Death Knight, Lich, and Dark Ranger going up against the Death Knight, Lich, Dark Ranger as well. So both sides getting that Dark Ranger, and both sides will be able to necessarily silence. So far, Death Knight still sitting at level 2. Lich sitting at level 1. We are going to get into a bit of an attack here. Is the Dark Ranger going to be able to do anything? There's the Cyclone, and that Lich is pretty much up in the air. It is going to land, and it will get taken out. And the Crypt Fiend was saved once more. Alright, Abominations. Here we go. Abominations, such a strong unit. Very beefy, very effective against those Crypt Fiends, as we now have level 2 on that Lich. Level 1 still on that Dark Ranger, as the red Undead player now looking to see where perhaps he can creep next. He really needs to consider his options and his choices. He needs to choose his creep pattern wisely. He does not want to fall behind in a series against TeD. TeD is just seeming to win every game he plays, as we now see this 5-3-3 creep camp will get crept out. Abomination, is that the first one, or is there another one here? I could have sworn that there was another Abomination already on the field, unless it was lost. And that would be a tragic, tragic loss. All right, Slaughterhouse, we are seeing that 48 over 50 supply. The Abomination now making its way off to the north. Dark Ranger, Death Knight, Lich now wandering around the corner. Ring of Regeneration on that Lich, making him very difficult to destroy. And the Death Knight still continuing to push into this location here. All right, Death Knight is sitting at about even level. I believe the Lich is actually close, yeah, further along. So Blue actually a bit further along in terms of hero level. The Lich still sitting at level 1 as the Death Knight now still wandering away. Death Knight keeping track of that skeletal minion. We now see that the Dark Ranger is also sitting at level 2. Tome of Intelligence being picked up by the Lich. Lich now has double potions of invulnerability. Going to be very difficult to take down if anyone tries to take him down. Death Knight with Death Coil, Ring of Regeneration, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. All of those couple up into a very beefy hero that is going to be very difficult to take down. All right, here you have it. Troll Warlord now taking 17% additional damage. That is going to be a lot of damage there, as we are now getting into a Book of the Dead. Back down over here, we are still looking to see what exactly the red undead player is doing. The red undead is actually creeping out the top right hand side of the map. And will it get creepjacked? That is the question. Lich now sitting at level 2. Death Knight sitting at level 2. Belt of Giant Strength. And here we go. Both sides are fighting it out. There's a Silence. There's a Frost Nova. I believe there's a Scroll of Healing as the Lich now gets up to level 3. Are we going to get a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability? Yes, we do. Eversong able to now muster up a large counterattack, and this may be the problem. The Lich, if it gets taken down, is going to be some very significant losses. Death Knight sitting at level 3. Lich sitting at level 2. Is it going to get Death Coiled? No, it does not. Now the Abomination getting focused down. I believe that the Death Knight is not going to be Death Coiling that Abomination. Instead, just leaving it in the bit of a backfield. Obsidian Statues, Crypt Fiends now making their way down, slithering. What was slithering down? Those Crypt Fiends look like they're slithering, just walking down that ramp there. So far, we are on 2 bases versus 2. Oh, sorry, no, 1 base versus 1. I thought for some reason there was a base down over here. No, 1 base versus 1, and we still have plenty of time to go. I believe it is currently 10 minutes left for these gold mines to run out of gold. As we see the Dark Ranger now get up to level 3. Level 3 Dark Ranger. If we actually see level 6 on a Dark Ranger, that level 6 Dark Ranger will inherit Charm. And Charm is such a powerful ability, especially since all of those undead units are relatively expensive. Now coming across over here, there's one Dark Ranger. A couple of destroyers are in the air. And we are now just simply waiting for a counterattack that doesn't ever seem to be coming. A 3-3-3 try hero combination going up against, I believe, a 3-2, and where's that Lich? 3-2-2, as the Lich is just sitting at level 2, not yet even close to level 3. Down goes that Drake. Let's see what item was picked up. Boots of Felt the Loss, additional +6 agility. Is it going to be given to that Ranger? That is the question. Yeah, I believe so. Yes, it is. And now the Ranger has +6 damage. Again, a very, very strong item, giving additional armor and additional hit points. Oh, no, additional attack points, attack damage there, as the Death Knight now looking to creep out this relatively easy 5-3-3-1-1 creep camp. All right, over here, top right-hand side of the map, destroyers are nearby, Crypt Fiends. And now in comes some Obsidian Statues. The Obsidian Statues absorb mana. And here we go. The Obsidian Statues are so anti-magic that they cannot even hold mana in them very, very easily. There you go, trying to take down the one Nerubian Tower. The Nerubian Tower already down to 400 some odd hit points. And looks like it will be falling fast. Death Knight now coming back in with the counterattack as the Crypt Fiends and Abomination now looks to come in. There is some Crypt Fiends with Entangle. There's a Death Coil saving a low hit point Crypt Fiend. And what is happening next? Death Knight now looking to back away. Both sides still fighting out. There goes another Crypt Fiend again. The Abomination, very low on hit points. It gets taken down, but the Crypt Fiends are already been taken down as well. This is looking to be a very open and shut case for TeD, who did spawn as blue. And I believe this will be happening sometime soon. Level 4 now on the Lich. Yes, level 4 on the Lich. Level 3 on the Death Knight. Not yet quite level 4. There is the GG. And Red loses game 1 to TeD here on Ancient Isle. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.